There's this family of microscopic invaders, and they are absolute masters of disguise. They can hide inside our bodies for decades, all thanks to a really simple but brilliant design choice. They're shaped like corkscrews. So today we're going to uncork the secrets of these fascinating and pretty dangerous bacteria.
So take a look at these. These are spirochetes. And that unique shape, it's not just for looks. It is the key to everything they do, how they invade our tissues, how they dodge our immune systems, and how they cause diseases that can last a lifetime. So what makes this simple corkscrew shape so incredibly effective? Well, let's take a closer look.
All right, so what exactly makes a spirochete, well, a spirochete? Let's break down the fundamental things that set this entire group of bacteria apart from pretty much all the others.
Okay, so here's the official description. They're long, they're flexible, and they're spiral-shaped. But that last part is really key. They have a gram-negative cell wall structure. In plain English, that means they're almost invisible to the standard lab stains we use to find bacteria. So right from the get-go, they're designed to be incredibly hard to spot.
So how do you power a corkscrew? This is where it gets really ingenious. See, most bacteria have propellers, flagella, on the outside. Spirochetes? They hide their motors inside their own body wall. When these internal filaments spin, the entire bacterium twists and drills its way forward. It is the perfect invasion tool.
Now, this one family of bacteria contains some major culprits when it comes to human disease. You can think of them as different branches of the same criminal family, and each one has its own nasty specialty. Let's meet the main players.
The family is basically split into two main branches, and they operate in completely different environments. One group, which includes the culprits behind syphilis and Lyme disease, absolutely hates oxygen. They thrive deep inside our tissues where there's not much air. The other group needs oxygen and has this distinct hooked shape. So same basic design, but adapted for totally different lifestyles.
To really understand how a spirochete operates, we're going to do a deep dive into its most notorious representative, Treponema pallidum, the bacterium that causes syphilis. This disease is, frankly, a masterclass in bacterial persistence and evasion.
The invasion begins quietly. Stage 1 is where the bacteria first establish a foothold in the body, usually after getting in through tiny breaks in the skin.
The first sign is a single, painless sore. It seems pretty minor, but it's actually teeming with infectious bacteria. And here's the first trick in its playbook. After about a month, the sore just disappears. All by itself. You'd think it's over, right? But in reality, the invasion has just gone underground. So yeah, this first stage is basically a feint. While the body's busy healing that one little spot on the surface, the bacteria are using it as a beachhead to quietly slip into the body's superhighways, the blood and lymph systems. The real invasion is just about to begin. Then, after a few months of total silence, the infection just explodes into stage 2. The bacteria use that quiet time to travel everywhere and multiply like crazy. And now, well, they're everywhere. Now the infection goes systemic. The body breaks out in a rash, sometimes even on the palms of the hands and soles of the feet. And you get hit with awful flu-like symptoms. It's a clear sign the bacteria are widespread. But then, the same trick repeats itself. After a while, all of these symptoms vanish. Again, the disease seems to be gone, but it's really just entering a long, silent phase of hiding. You can see the pattern here, right? An initial quiet attack, a silent period, and then a full-blown systemic war. The bacteria have broken out of their local containment and are now causing problems all over the body. And this brings us to the final and most devastating act, stage 3. This can happen years or even decades after the initial infection, long after a person has believed they're perfectly healthy. While the disease seems to have vanished, a low-grade war has actually been raging inside the body for decades. This chronic inflammation slowly but surely destroys the body's most critical systems. It can weaken the aorta, our largest artery, until it balloons and bursts. Or it can invade the brain itself, leading to dementia and paralysis. The endgame branches into these absolutely horrifying possibilities. The body's own immune response creates deep lesions, the cardiovascular system fails, or the nervous system tragically decays. This is the ultimate terrible outcome of an untreated spirochete invasion. Let's just pause on this for a second. In spite of a vigorous host immune response, the organisms are capable of persisting for decades. This quote really gets to the very heart of what makes spirochetes so successful. Our body throws everything it has at them, but it can never fully wipe them out. They are true masters of persistence. So after seeing all the damage they can do, how do we fight back? Fortunately, we do have effective ways to find and treat these infections. Let's take a look at the process.
Diagnosing them is kind of a multi-step investigation. In the early stages, if you're lucky, you can actually see the live bacteria from a sore, corkscrewing around under a special microscope. But most of the time, diagnosis relies on blood tests that look for the antibodies our bodies create to fight back, often needing a screening test first, followed by a more specific one to confirm it.
And here is the good news. For all their stealth and all their tricks, they have a major Achilles heel: antibiotics. For syphilis, simple penicillin is still the miracle cure. A drug discovered way back in 1928 can stop a disease that's plagued humanity for centuries. The key for all these infections is catching them early.
And you know, syphilis is just one member of the family. Borrelia burgdorferi, you've probably heard of that one. It's the agent of Lyme disease carried by ticks. Leptospira causes a really serious illness from contaminated water. But the list also includes a species that doesn't hide out in the wild, but has found a home much, much closer, inside all of us.
So we've been talking about these serious, systemic diseases, but what if I told you that a close relative of these invaders is living in your mouth, right now? Yep, for real. Let's zoom in on this fascinating and maybe slightly unnerving dental connection.
It turns out that oral spirochetes are key players in severe gum disease. They're part of a destructive bacterial team known as the red complex. So that same corkscrew design that allows syphilis to invade the body is used by its relatives to drill into our gums and destroy the tissues that hold our teeth in place. These invaders aren't just the topic for a textbook, they're part of the reason you need to floss.
From causing ancient diseases to complicating our dental health, spirochetes are just remarkable survivors. Their simple, elegant corkscrew design has allowed them to wage a silent war against us for centuries. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secrets are they hiding?